Hey everyone, it's Victoria with Nutrition by Victoria. I have a Master's of Science degree in Human Nutrition, and I'm here to help you build a high-functioning metabolism so that you can get and stay effortlessly slim, lean, fit, and healthy, all while eating unlimited carbohydrates, unlimited calories from the right sources: fruits, vegetables, starches, sugar to taste, a high-carb, low-fat, plant-based, vegan diet. Okay, so today I was asked to review Henry is vegan and why he is still fat following Durianrider's advice. So we're just going to check out his channel here and see his recent videos. And I'm going to click on one, but we can see that he is a bigger dude. He's actually reached out to me before in private messaging for help, and I suggested that he join my coaching group. But he is in Durianrider's coaching group, and yeah, I'm in that group as well, and I see, him posting there and asking for advice. And so we're gonna go ahead and watch this video here. I became a diabetic on Durianrider's advice, and see what's going on with Henry.
I have a video request here. Someone wrote, please review Henry is vegan. He talks about how Durianrider failed him in his newest video.
So I guess someone made a video of me about Henry is vegan, and
So I did do a search for Henry is director. And it's gonna be a Chigan now.
I'd be like, oh, but I mean,
Yeah, so Henry is definitely pushing at least an overweight BMI, if not an obese one, just judging by physical appearance.
when I look at pictures and stuff, I'm like, damn, yeah.
And
I don't know.
yeah, put one the other DM.
I'm not gonna watch this. Wow, I look fatter on the video than I do what I think I look like in this camera. But so I'm going to talk about just from the.
So before I give any kind of advice, I generally want to know backstory, and that's what Henry's going to start to go over here, is how did this person get in the situation that they're in? And then I can start to create a protocol for them to follow in order to get the results that they desire. This is what I do with all my clients, including my private coaching clients, my one-on-one clients, and my clients in my private Facebook coaching group.
Thumbnail here, you can see 2016, those are really, really skinny. In 2024, you can see something's happened.
Right, so we've got a bit of a before and after here where he was very lean in 2016. We can just tell by the face structure here. And then in 2024, he's clearly put on quite a bit of weight since then.
So in 2016, I had calorie restricted. I had an eating disorder. I would not eat for days. I would not eat for days. I would constantly go on different diets. But then I found Durianrider, and I started to follow his protocols.
So we have a history of calorie restriction, which created a degree of metabolic damage. So basically, he set himself up for weight gain in the post, right? So when we calorie restrict, we elevate our cortisol levels, and we also increase insulin resistance, which actually helps our body to gain weight after it's sensed that we've been in a famine state. So it's purely survival. It's not anything to be ashamed of. It's just your body reacting to what it's been through, because we are designed to survive famine situations by storing body fat.
And I think if you look at my video on my YouTube channel, go to my channel. If you go to my channel and you look at the videos from, I'm gonna go. I posted a lot, so if you look back in, oh man, you got to go back years. Oh, here we go, here we go. I didn't post too much. If you go back to the beginning. All right, to the beginning here.
Okay, so he's went back 8 years ago. So that would be 2016 when he started recovering from his eating disorder, his calorie restriction. Again, his body's going to be programmed to store body fat through insulin resistance. And he said he adopted Durianrider's protocol at this point. So we're going to watch what happens to his body as time progresses.
So I remember doing like a blog or diary, what I eat every day. I'm not gonna go through it. I was doing pretty good back then. I was buying fruit. I was riding my bike. And I think I was lean. But then I was tagged on a Facebook.
So you can override some of the extent of metabolic damage by doing what's right for your body. So you can offset the rebound by adopting a high carb, low fat diet, by honoring your appetite, by focusing on the fruit, the vegetables, the starches predominantly that naturally occurring plant foods that are high carb, low fat by default, and high in nutrient density and high in fiber. But there is going to be some weight gain that is inevitable, and that is just to restore your health and to restore metabolic functioning.
I was buying fruit. I was riding my bike. I think I was lean. But then I was lean. And then I was like, hey man, I'm not gaining any weight, I'm skinny. And then you can see I'm eating pretty good here. And I was riding a lot.
I'm also not sure what Henry's age is. Generally, the younger you are, the faster you respond to the metabolic recovery that comes after a period of restriction faster.
Then I started to eat high fat foods. So for example, here, I'm gonna zoom in. I started eating like vegan tacos. It's got like jackfruit. I don't know. It could be cooked in oil. Then I started, you can see here, a vegan food mukbang. I started eating fatty foods.
So what I'm noticing by the timeline here is that now we're into 7 years ago. So it's 1 year post restriction. And he's starting to put on some weight. He's starting to eat fattier foods. Now, the weight gain associated with eating the fattier foods, given that it's so close to the restriction recovery period, I would say it's likely that he wasn't fully recovered metabolically speaking. I generally tell people to give themselves 1 to 2 years of eating an appropriate amount of food for your body, not restricting, focusing on the high carb, low fat, staying overt fat free, and focusing on fruits, vegetables, starches, sugar to taste in order to reestablish your hunger and satiety signaling properly and to keep cravings for fatty foods at bay. But you'll see this a lot where somebody recovering their metabolism post restriction get to a point where they start to binge out on the fattier stuff to make up for the calorie deficit that their body had previously experienced. And the why that generally happens is because somebody wasn't eating enough calories on high carb, low fat vegan, or they just simply couldn't eat enough calories in order to restore their metabolism fast enough.
Started eating tofurkey. I was eating these yakisoba fried vegan food. Then I started going to Thai restaurants and ordering oily Thai food.
But the fastest way to put on weight for anyone across the board is to increase your fat intake. And I just want to hit this from a mucusless diet perspective also, is that before he started getting into the fattier foods, he was eating more mucus-free foods. When you focus on the fruit in particular and the vegetables, it becomes very hard to be overweight, and it becomes very easy to maintain a lean, healthy body weight, which is what he was doing when he was eating high carb, low fat. And like you saw him showing, he was eating a lot more fruit. When people start messing around with the processed foods, the high fat foods, the restaurant foods, that's when they can get into trouble with their weight in particular. But he kind of had it coming for him just based on the calorie restricted background that programmed his body to be insulin resistant. Following.
When I moved to Boston, I started eating Chipotle. I was eating really.
A lot of people think Chipotle is healthy, but there is oil on everything there, even their rice. So I don't eat Chipotle myself. My kids like it. You can get vegan options there, but it is going to be a higher fat restaurant option.
High fat, really high fat foods. And I wasn't riding as much.
So he mentioned that he was eating higher fat foods. He wasn't riding his bike as much. And when he first adopted the protocol, he was following the protocol, right? High carb, low fat, raw till 4, fruit based, low fat starches with vegetables at night, riding your bike, performing catabolic aerobic activity. That will keep the body, it will help the body get to and stay at a lean, fit, slim, healthy body weight. So he went off the protocol is basically what he's saying. But like I said, his body was already had programmed for a degree of insulin resistance that I don't think he fully recovered from. And I think that's what he's currently still dealing with now.
When I was skinny, I was like, like I said, I started eating high fat food, and then I was like, I'm not gaining weight, so I'll just keep eating sugar and eat fatty foods, And then eventually I was like, man, the fatty foods taste really good. And I started eating fatty food.
Fat is addicting, and that's why it's put on foods because it helps you to eat more of them. Fat is 9 calories per gram. It also is pretty tasteless. So you add it to something and it enhances the flavor, but it gives you all those extra fat calories as well. And the fat you eat is the fat you wear, per the late Dr. John McDougall. And that is true. When we consume fat, it goes right to storage, and it's very difficult to mobilize it for energy unless we create a dietary fat deficit through restricting the fat that we eat through our diet. So then we can burn the excess body fat that is stored on our body.
Eventually I was like, maybe I'm not eating, I started getting weight, and I'm like, maybe I'm not eating enough sugar. So I started doubling on my sugar intake while eating fatty food.
Yeah, that is a recipe for insulin resistance in particular, is eating lots and lots of sugar while eating a high fat diet. That is how people become diabetic.
So obviously, you make sugar and fat, you get insulin resistance in.
And he's right. And honestly, that is what he's currently dealing with as well, is he is insulin resistant. He needs to really hone in on his dietary fat intake. That is the foundation. Whenever I work with somebody and I go over their diet, the first thing that we need to establish is eating a low fat diet. So I say, eat all the carbs you want, high carb, low fat. That is what you need to be focused on. And then after, you know, they've established that it's easy for them to follow, it becomes their regular diet, and they wish for further fat loss. At that point, then we start troubleshooting, you know, where we can add more fruit, add more vegetables, add more whole starches, less processed food in general, and go from there. But some people don't need to troubleshoot to that level. Most people just need to eat a high carb, low fat diet and get that established first. And then, you know, the body weight melts off and the health improves. A high carb, low fat diet is the key to becoming insulin sensitive. You need to have that aspect of the diet established first and foremost.
Back then, I didn't know, you know, much. I didn't know that I was, I was insulin resistant. I just thought, oh, I'm not eating enough sugar. Gotta increase more sugar. And I gotta keep writing more. I gotta keep writing more. Eventually, it got to the point where I really got, you know, really unhealthy, because I kept eating fatty foods.
So I think that's about it for this video. Basically, Henry wasn't following the protocol. You know, Durianrider's protocol is a high carb, low fat, plant-based vegan diet. Raw till 4 is what he recommends. Fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch, add sugar to taste, starches in the evening, your favorite starches, rice, pasta, potatoes, low fat, okay? Add vegetables and your favorite condiment, and that is his protocol, as well as riding your bike for transport. I say just do 30 minutes of aerobic activity minimum every single day, whether that's walking, jogging, riding your bike, riding a stationary bike, doing something aerobic, something catabolic, and you will get your wheels spinning in the right direction to becoming more insulin sensitive and dropping the weight. So that's all Henry needs to do, is just be really strict about actually following Durianrider's protocol, and he will get the results that he desires. Okay, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave any comments or questions down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.